What's up guys, it is a good part of the year again, and today we'll make a very simple, anyone can make this kind of Diwali Shaker card. Actually, I'm recreating a card that I made for a friend of mine 3 years ago, so shout out to her. Also, this card wasn't supposed to be in the anyone can make this series, but while filming it I realized it's a very simple card, so I added it to the series. So yeah, professional supplies have been used, but the steps are very optional. Let's start off the card by making the base and also doing the background. Now for the base I used this lovely cardstock reddish orange in color, which is so perfect for an occasion like Diwali because it has that very saffron color, which is a sacred Hindu color. And I cut it down to the size of 4 inches by 10 inches and then folded it in half to create a note card which is of the size 4 inches by 5 inches. Now this next step is completely optional because it uses supplies that people do not normally have at their homes. And it is a technique which I have shown in the first video I uploaded after a long dropout from YouTube, which is another shaker card video. And what I basically do is I take a stamp image, in this case it is the word celebrate with the design on the top and bottom, and I repeatedly stamp it all over the base to create a background. Now here I just wanted the designs on the top and the bottom of this image, so I'm taking a tape and masking off the word celebrate itself. And then I just take a metallic gold marker and with it I stamp the entire base so as to create a really nice and subtle background. Now after the stamping, I thought that this background is a bit too subtle. So I just took a glitter marker, gold one, and then I just made some dots on the pattern. Just very simply made some dots, and I'm telling you, this amped up the background so much, it was unbelievable. You can see the shine is really eye-catchy. Now let's make the shaker element of the card. Now for the diya, for the semicircular shape of the diya, I just used a very student staple item, which is a protector or a D or whatever you may call it, and I took it and traced the shape on a brown piece of cardstock, and then I'm simply cutting it out for the base of a shaker element. Now for the dimension of our shaker element, I'm using thin strips which I'm cutting out here of styrofoam. Now using styrofoam was actually a very good option, particularly in this card, because styrofoam is very bendy, squishy, so you can easily stick it along the curve of our diya. If you do not happen to have styrofoam, you can definitely use double-sided foam tapes, which can be easily bought from any of your stationery stores. Now here I'm simply sticking the thin strips we've cut along the edges of the shape of the diya so as to give dimension to our shaker element. Now is the fun part, and that is to add the sequins and stickers on a shaker element. You probably and definitely have some things in your house that you can use as the shaker part of the shaker element, so do check that out. You can use anything, stickers, sequins, they come in strips like this I'm using here. And again, I want some of them to be static, so when the card stands up, not all of it falls down and my shaker element looks empty. But yes, only use flat things like the sticker stars that I'm using here for the static part, otherwise they act as obstacles and the other sequence would not move around that freely. But I did it wrong. I did put a three-dimensional sequin. I stick them, which you can see me doing here, and it did act as an obstacle, so I regret doing this step. But overall it is really fine and easy, and you probably and definitely can make this if you just search around your house. The next step is again very easy. Just find any kind of clear packaging around your house, be it acetate, which I'm using here, or any kind of plastic, a thin sheet of plastic. Butter paper would do even because it's partially see-through, but we just want anything see-through. Anything would work, even glass if you want it to be extra fancy, and then just stick it on top for the see-through part. Now to finish your shaker element, take that protector one more time and draw a semicircle. And we will draw one more semicircle inside it so that we have a thin strip of the semicircle which covers the white strips of the styrofoam that are peeking through. So the length of the strip of the styrofoam for me was approximately 1 centimeter. So I'm drawing one more semicircle inside this one, which is 1 centimeter inwards. And then we'll cut it out from between. You can use a paper cutter or even scissors would work. You just have to make one incision and then you can cut it out, and then we'll stick it on top of the shaker element so that it's nice, clean and finished. To cut it, I just made one incision with the paper cutter, but then I cut it out with scissors because they are much more handy. Now I'll just shake it up a few times to see if there are any gaps from which the sequins are falling. But since there were none, we can proceed to the next step, which is very crucial by the way, is that you color the styrofoam with the color of your paper. So I'm just taking a brown marker here and then I'm just simply coloring the styrofoam brown so that from a distance the shaker element will look very good, finished and elegant. Now if you're like me and you struggle with drawing simple solid shapes such as a candle flame, you can definitely use this image as a guide for the next step, which is to cut out flames from a nice glitter foam paper. Now I have a ton of these glitter foam sheets lying around which I seldom or never use. But when it comes to making the flame of the candle, this is a perfect thing to use, and these foam sheets can easily be found in any of your stationery shops that are very popular and famous, but I don't really use them. And if you don't want to use them, you can just simply take orange color paper or take a white paper and color it orange, add some glitter, it's all up to you. But the motive is to make the flame, and it would be best if you make the flame with two colors, which is orange and yellow. You can use one too, but this just adds a bit more interest. And here I'm just stacking and sticking all the layers together, and I have to say this flame is my favorite part in the entirety of the card. Okay, let's make the sentiment now. Now, I did nothing fancy, like literally nothing fancy at all. Simply wrote a Happy Diwali on a black piece of cardstock, which I will cut in a banner shape and stick it at the bottom of her diya. Now, making a banner shape is just your piece of cake. Just cut out a strip like you normally would, and then at the end, cut out two triangles. Like, just make one cut from one angle, another cut from the another angle, which you can see me doing here, and you have your banner. Now, let's just assemble everything. We have all the pieces ready. So we'll take the shaker element and stick it at the center of a card. This is the centerpiece. Now don't be afraid to make your shaker element as big as you want, because it is the life of the card. So I'm just sticking the shaker element here. On the top of it we'll have our flame, the flame of the diya, again beautiful and nice, centered at the between of the diya in the middle. And finally, we'll stick the sentiment strip at the bottom of the diya to finish our card. And with that being said, guys, this extremely simple card is done. Now I know it's not my usual style, not that fancy, not that bougie, but you don't have to be fancy all the time, right? And it's a trip down the memory lane, recreating the exact card I made 3 years ago, and it was fun. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. If you think that anyone can make this card, please tell me in the comments below. And definitely make this card to amp up your Diwali. And of course guys, it's Diwali baby. My Diwali vibes ain't going down since November. So a very happy Diwali to you. May you have an auspicious, prosperous, fun-filled, amazing kind of Diwali. All the good stuff. And I will see you all in the next video. Until then, stay blessed, stay happy, and live the Diwali vibes.